Good evening, party people. This is your host, the Matty Man. We're here with your live Collision review and your 2024 SummerSlam review. Hope everybody's having a great evening. Hey, we've got a viewer. Hey, how's it going? Oh, so much has happened this weekend. It's been stupid crazy. I'm going to go ahead and add in here that we're going to be doing this, and we're actually live on Instagram. I hope people are going to be watching on Instagram. I just got this thing set up for them probably about 2 days ago. Pretty excited. Last thing we're going to hook up is we're going to hook up TikTok, and we're going to try to go live on TikTok as well, coming in the very near future. At least that's my hope. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. It has been an eventful weekend. We had enough wrestling this weekend that I think I'm going to OD. No kidding. It was some good shows on. AEW Collision, SummerSlam, GCW had a show. I actually watched a Memphis wrestling show earlier today that I'm thinking about covering as well because, they're starting to get some stars on there. Got James Storm on there this week. Going to have a couple of TNA stars on there next week. We definitely don't want to miss the show. Memphis Wrestling coming to you live from Triller. Triller has a lot of good wrestling on it too, by the way. You get GCW, ICW, OVW, you name the W's, you got the W's all over. Triller is nothing but one big W family. But anyway, I don't want to waste too much time. Bear with me 1 second here because I realized the tweet was on my phone and I didn't have it printed out. So kind of bear with me here for just 1 second. All right, let's see what we got here. Get in here. Let's see here. There it is. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be doing a series here along with because I believe in the premise behind it, and it's not copying per se. The Covalent TV does this on a regular basis. They call it drone accountability. I'm just going to call it red lights. That's all it is. When I see this, it gives me nothing but a red light, and sometimes it makes me mad enough, but this one right here is just like, I don't know if this is particularly a doozy, but these are do's and don'ts when you're on the internet. And do is say nice things, kind of help your favorite people to get over, so on and so forth. Be there for them and everything else. Don't is say stupid shit. And that's where this tweet's going here. Just so you know, at SummerSlam, this is not jumping ahead. It's also part of news and so on and so forth. Because I do have some news coming in here, breaking news as a matter of fact. But at SummerSlam, at the end of it, Jacob Fatu did a spot, and we all looked at it, and we watched him, and we're like, yeah, I don't know if he was working that or whether that was a legit shoot or whether he was injured, but he gave a lot of indication that he was actually injured. And of course, our AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland jumps in there and says, you know what? I heard the news. Heal up, Jacob. That's all he said. That's it. To which screen name Mill Inside the Box, or Me Inside the Box, MII Inside the Box, falls right under that tweet and says, don't mention us, stay on your side, traitor. Yeah, that is like, yeah, you failed. You failed. Big time. Um, dumb, dumb. That's basically how I feel about it. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to say this wholeheartedly. I'm going to say this with everything that's in the fiber of my being and on everything that I love and I stand for. There are some wrestling promotions that I have a hard time getting into, but I watch it because it has wrestling in it. And WWE happens to be one of those. The regular weekly shows are pretty mechanical. They're pretty formula. And, part of me wants a little bit of intrigue. I have never once, whether I like a wrestler, don't like a wrestler, personally, professionally, or any of that, I have never once wished for injury to anybody. I don't want anybody to be out of work. And when somebody from the other side says, hey man, heard about it, sorry about your fall, man, heal up, the absolute last thing you should do is go right under that, stay on your side. Sounds like such a fucking childish move, because it is a fucking childish move. No pause. So, whoever you are, me, whatever you are, you're an idiot. And I said it live on stream. You know what? Everybody has the right to pay their respects, especially to somebody like Jacob Fatu. If there's a reason that I watch WWE, it's not for the standard stuff that y'all watch it for. I watch it just to see how some of the other folks are doing. I'm really going to be into it when Stephanie McClure gets in there, and Julia and Riho. When they get in there, I'm going to really be watching them, because at least WWE came up with some good wrestlers. Now the question is, are they going to nerf them? Who knows? I don't. I hope they don't. But I've already read some indicators that they were telling Julia she needs to slow down a little bit and so on and so forth, which is not shocking. If you've ever seen Stardom or New Japan Pro Wrestling, those women can run ropes. I think it's going to be a treat for everybody in the WWE sphere, because unless they completely nerf all three of them, and I don't think they're going to, and Julia's already kind of hinted that she's not going to be nerfed, which I'm always happy to hear about. When you see those women run, they're going to spoil the rest of the division for you, because I have seen all three of these women wrestle in their respective promotions, and I am here to tell you that is that's a whole different level of women's wrestling. There are levels to that too, and it have nothing to do with sexuality, looks, butts, boobs. It has nothing to do with that. There are other levels in women's wrestling. You're about to experience that. I'm totally excited about that myself. And, as much as it pains me that they're going to the WWE, I will support them. I will show up. I will support. I will watch. I don't wish any injury. I don't wish anything bad to happen to any wrestler, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to make a buck. We're all trying to live. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they are entertaining. All of them are entertaining. I highly recommend it. Especially, even in half stride, they're going to make most of the women look bad. Charlotte's going to have to step up her game. And Bayley's definitely going to have to step it up a step or two just to work with them. And I couldn't be more excited that they landed at least in a major federation. I don't particularly care. They land in a major promotion. I don't care. I'm still going to support them. I don't care where they go. Would I have liked to see them in AEW? Yeah, I would have. But they're in WWE. I'm going to watch them, and I'm going to enjoy it. I do have some news, too. And this one is a doozy. Let's see here. Let's get to our news spot here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sneeze like that. The big news of the day is, after SummerSlam, the fan that gifted the bracelet to CM Punk would now like to be compensated because it's being used in a major angle. While I don't particularly disagree with it, just the idea of, I gave you something, now you owe me money because you figured out how to make money with it, is just, somebody loans you a car to go DoorDash, and yeah, you need to put gas in the car, but you don't need to pay them for the car because they didn't realize you were actually going to make some money doing this. They thought you were out on a joke, and you actually come home with a couple $100. Yeah, you need to fill them up with gas, and if the oil needs changing, you need to help them out with an oil change. Basic maintenance. But you're not buying the car just because you used it. Okay? Oh, we got 10 viewers in here. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope everybody's well. Don't forget to chat. Chat's open. Be my guest. Drop some lines in here. I don't mind answering questions. As you would have seen in the last show, somebody was going crazy on the chat. Didn't have a problem answering. Don't mind trolling either. Do whatever you need to do. Action is reaction. And the reaction is more follows, more likes, more shares. So let's keep that energy going. Let's go with like, gang, comment, gang, share, gang. Yeah, I did steal that one. I'm sorry, but, it just flows really, really well. Ladies and gentlemen, this weekend was probably one of the bigger hype weekends. August 25th is going to be a hype weekend because we got All In, which means there's going to be a lot of wrestling to cover then, and I plan to be here for that as well. Also, since we broke it on the Covalent TV, I'm going to break it here live to you. We are coming to WrestleCade. Both Covalent TV and myself are going to have tables at WrestleCade 2024 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're going to be live there. We're going to be interviewing wrestlers. We're going to be talking to wrestlers. We're going to be talking to the fans. We're going to be talking to everybody. Not to mention TNA is going to be cutting a pay-per-view live from there as well. And you get your tickets now at WrestleCade. That's WrestleCade 2024. And you'll run into us eventually. Wow, we're up to 11. Good job. I appreciate it. This is awesome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the stream. I really do. I appreciate everybody that's here. Appreciate all the listeners. Appreciate all the followers. Thank you very much. And we're just going to get on into this stuff here. So it's time to, start the car up and let's take a drive. Oh, this past Saturday, AEW presented the next stop on the path to All In the Summer Series live from Arlington, Texas in Eastport Arena, which, by the way, if you have a smaller promotion, GCW, if you have a smaller promotion, OVW, and you want a really good place to put a show on, the Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas, seems to be laid out perfectly for smaller venues, more intimate venues. Give me just 1 second here. Okay. Phone blows up right in the middle of the stream. That's not uncommon. Hey, we got 11 people viewing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tony Schiavone and former Ring of Honor World Champion Nigel McGuinness were at the broadcast position for tonight for that event. And we're going to open up with the AEW World Trios Champions, the Patriarchy, which would be Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, Killswitch, accompanied by Mother Wayne. They come down to the stage, they get up in the ring. Christian Cage tells everybody to sit down and shut your mouth while he conducts his business. So he's going to keep it short and sweet because he told everybody he hates Arlington, Texas, which, that's just cheap heat. But, it works. It got him going. A couple of short weeks ago, the Patriarchy did exactly what he said they would do, and they captured the World Trios Championship. And he is a man of his word, which, when you're running the show, it's not hard to be a man of your word. And, he keeps his promise. He told everybody on his road back to becoming AEW World Heavyweight Champion, he was going to use the World Trios as a vehicle and use it to gift his family for showing him support for the year. So, with that said, he holds up the World Trios belts. And then he quickly reminds everybody that a belt is something you use to hold up your pants. That's old school stuff. That's from back when he came out of WWE. When he was in WWE, just so you know, it was like Vince had a whole lot of words you couldn't say, and he'd been there long enough to just beat it into his head and decided he wasn't going to say it. And so there we were. So, said he was going to do what he promised to do. He said he was going to present the Patriarchy with their championship titles. Not belts. Championship titles. First of all, Nick Wayne, the apple of his eye, his boy. He was so proud of him. He just let him know he was so proud of Nick. And he's a once-in-a-lifetime, a generational talent, a prodigy, etc., etc. Nick, other than me, I can't think of anyone who deserves this honor more than me. Of course, nobody deserves honor more than the patriarchy, and nobody deserves honor more than Christian Cage, obviously. So he kicks it on out there, and he gives Nick his title, gives him a hug, steps up to Kill Switch and lets him know that he acknowledges Kill Switch and that he wanted to let him know how much he meant to him. And with that being said, he did not give birth to a prodigy, which means he steps next door to Mother Wayne and looks at her and tells her she gave birth to a prodigy, therefore she should be recognized as part of the Trios Championships, and hands her a Trio Championship, drapes it over her shoulder, turns around, etc., etc., and says, now let this be a warning to any Trios faction in the back that has their eyes. And as soon as he said that, House of Black's out, Malachi Black, Brody Lee, they come down to the ring, and Christian Cage pops up and says, well, House of Black. And his best, I guess, I don't know what Toni was going for there, but it was cute anyway. It says, House of Black, Malachi Black, and Jelly Roll. That was funny, though. I did laugh at that one. I thought that was pretty damn funny. I know why you're out here to stake your claim as the number one contenders for the Trios title, but in case you haven't understood, you only have two and you need three. Ha, 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 ha. And Malachi, you walk with swagger and this cloud around you like you're better than everyone else. And that's his problem with Malachi Black. Actually, Malachi Black is better than him all day, every day. And you realize that anything that Christian Cage touches turns into gold. So his advice to him is this. You saw them walk through the Bang Bang Gang 2 weeks ago like a hot knife through butter. And if they did that to them, what would they do to the House of Black? And we're up to 14 viewers. Thanks for joining us. Congrats. Hey, you know what? Anything makes me happy. Anything's good. See here where we at here. Says imagine what the three of them could do to the two of them. And says, so what are you thinking, Malachi? And he just simply says this, the lights go out, stay out for like maybe 35, 40 seconds. They come back up and boom! Buddy Matthews is in the ring. We have a trios group then. Christian Cage and Nick Wayne Christian Cage pulls Nick Wayne out of the ring and Kill Switch and so on and so forth. And they start to try to retreat, etc., etc. The Bang Bang Gang comes down the aisle. Then they realize they're blocked up. The Bang Bang Gang toss Nick Wayne into the ring where he's surrounded by the House of Black, who took their turns decimating him. Tony Schiavone said it's karma for what they said and done to Buddy Matthews. Bear with me just 1 second here. Need a little drink. It's water, y'all. It's water. Oh. The Bang Bang Gang and the House of Black stare down at the ring. Who's going to get a title shot? Wondered Tony Schiavone. Lexi Nair was backstage with the new Ring of Honor six-man champions, the Natural Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall. Dustin Rhodes said it's been an emotional week for him, but the stars aligned and he and the Von Erichs are Texas best. And that is a fact. Yeah, they are. If I had anything to say about it, the Von Erichs started in WCCW, and that's old stuff. That was some of the first wrestling that was ever on ESPN. Before ESPN went away from wrestling altogether, World Class Championship Wrestling, AWA Wrestling, so on and so forth. Just a little side historical view, just so you get a general idea of what's going on there. WCCW, which is World Class Championship Wrestling, was basically the Von Erichs. The Von Erichs were the Texas group. They were the Texas faction anybody had to beat. So yeah, we're actually looking at history here. Sammy Guevara then interrupts the interview. Sammy Guevara told Dustin he's aware that they have a long history and that Dustin may not trust him, and Dustin replied that trust is earned. Sammy said he's been looking to earn Dustin's trust and be his own man, and he told Dustin that he wants to team with him in Ring of Honor and team with all of them in AEW. Dustin shook Sammy's hand and agreed. That'll take us out to our first match here, the Continental Collision 3-way. And they have the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio, and I'm not even going to do his name because I can't ever get it right, Shane Taylor Promotions, and the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Lee Moriarty, and the conglomerates Tomohiro Ishii. Ishii and Claudio knocked down Lee with a double shoulder tackle. Lee fired back with a drop kick to both men. Moriarty rocketed out of the ring, with a tope suicida and wiped out Ishii and Claudio. Back in the ring, the three men battled it out, trading chops. Lee and both chopped Claudio. Ishii and Claudio and Lee exchanged German suplexes. Claudio rocked both men with lariats. I'll tell you right now, Claudio is probably one of the most undervalued talents in AEW. And we should put a title on this guy like yesterday. I hope that he does come out of this thing with the Continental title, because I do believe that he would do more for the Continental title by accident than what's being done with it on purpose right now. Just a thought, just my feeling. Hey, we're up to 16 viewers. Thanks for joining us. All of you are welcome. I mean, seriously. Seriously. I'm telling you, it's been a good day. It's been a good day, and at least my internet's holding up. So let's keep the ball rolling here. The fans obviously were behind this match 100%, kept saying this is awesome over and over again. Claudio hurled Lee around the ring with the giant swing. Ishii came in and nailed Lee with a lariat. Lee railed back with a Border City stretch on Ishii, but Ishii rolled up Lee for the near fall. Claudio then planted Lee with the neutralizer and went for the pin, but Ishii jumped in to break up the pin. Claudio cracked Lee with a flying European uppercut and pinned Lee Moriarty. Claudio has then earned a future title match against AEW champion Kazuchika Okada. I'm bad with names tonight. My Japanese sucks. Bear with me a little bit. Okada. And then back in the back here, we had a couple little discussions about something, and I just escaped that whole thing. Then we're back to the ring with CMLL World Historic Middleweight Champion Mystico and our new favorite friend Hologram versus the Premier Athletes Toni Nese and Ariya Daivari with Smart Mark Sterling. The Premier Athletes double-teamed Hologram in the corner. Hologram hit a Poison Rana on Nese and followed up with a leg sweep. Mystico tagged in, took flight. Cleaning house on Nese and Daivari. Wow, Mystico, that's another underrated talent. I don't think he's going to WWE. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Hey, we're live with 18 viewers. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We're doing well. We're doing well. We're doing well. Running well, as some of my friends would say. Let's see here. Mystico tagged in, took flight, cleaning house with Nese and Daivari. We knew that was coming. Mystico smashed Nese and Daivari with a double back elbow. Hologram tagged in and jumped off Daivari's shoulders and then took down Nese. Hologram rocked Nese with a round kick. Hologram jumped through the ropes and speared Smart Mark Sterling. The fans were just screaming, Hologram, Hologram, Hologram. If you have not seen Hologram perform yet, please, by all means, hit that YouTube channel. I'm not even asking you to watch AEW Wrestling. I'm asking you to just watch Hologram for 5 minutes. I don't think many of his matches last that long, but watch him for 5 minutes. Hologram launched Mystico into the air, and Mystico landed on Nice with a tornillo. Hologram finished off Daivari with a 450 splash and scored the pinfall. That is correct. Hologram and Mystico pick up the win. 3 for 3 for this risk-taking, flashy young star. That was the comment out of that from Tony Schiavone. After the match, the learning tree. Chris Jericho on the screen in a Mystico match. Jericho, hola, hi guys. Mystico, I am Lionheart, blah, blah. I'm escaping this shit. I'm sorry. I'm escaping this shit. I'm done with the Jerichos, and yeah, seriously, if I had something to say about a Jericho promo, it'd come out a little bit like that. Yeah, pretty much. That's a Jericho promo in a heartbeat. Told us he had a lot of classic matches in Arena Mexico, blah, 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 who cares? Anyway, Renee Paquette was backstage with the now last outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, who was joined by Karen Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and Jay Lethal. Renee asked Jarrett about the upcoming match this Wednesday on Dynamite with the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and Jay Lethal said, let me say it, if it wasn't for Hangman last week at the Royal Rampage, then Jeff Jarrett would have a world title match at Grand Slam. Yeah, that's the reason why. Sanjay Dutt pops in. If it wasn't for the Hangman last month, he would have had a world title shot at All In. Yeah, he would have. Yeah, totally would have. Karen pipes in and says, I think you guys need to do something about these insane wannabe cowboys. Jeff Jarrett said, calm down, guys. I didn't get what I wanted, neither did Hangman. But the difference is I'm going to make the most of my situation. So Bryan Danielson, I couldn't be more thrilled to be part of getting you ready for All In. But you've got to do more than get ready for All In. You've got to get ready for Swerve, which I agree. Swerve is a hell of a champion. He talked Swerve up really well. Still sitting on 18 viewers, so I appreciate it, everybody. Like, gang, comment, gang, share, gang. Yeah, get the stream out there. Promote the stream. Let's get some chats going. Come on. Give me a fire emoji in the chat. Anything. Something. Anything. I don't care. Let's see what we got here. Nothing yet. Nothing yet coming in. Nothing I can see. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not having them. It just means I can't see them. Could be a glitch. Who cares? Moving right along there, it says, anything goes. What I'm trying to say is there are no rules this Wednesday, Bryan Danielson. I respect you as a wrestler, and I damn sure respect you as a man. But as the old song lyric goes, now you're on the fighting side of me. Yeah, that's what that one was. Bryan, this Wednesday, I'm going to introduce you to the Last Outlaw. Holy shit, the Last Outlaw. There, you heard it first. The glamour of Mariah May seen coming out to the commentary booth for the next match. AEW World Champion Timeless Toni Storm was introduced for the match, but she stopped on the ramp when she saw Mariah May. Toni Storm charged to Mariah May. Mariah May grabbed the shoe, bashed it into Toni's head. Christopher Daniels ran out and pulled Mariah May back, trying to escort her to the back. Toni Storm jumped off the ramp, crashed down onto Mariah and Christopher Daniels, wiping both of them out. Toni Storm and Mariah May traded blows back and forth. Nigel said Toni Storm had lost her mind, which I don't think she's lost her mind. I think she's just probably pissed off, as I would be. Security ran down to separate the both of them. You know, the infamous security team that's going to break everybody up. See right here, Toni's opponent, the fashionista, Rache Chanel, took the opportunity to blindside the distracted champion back in the ring. Toni Storm rocked Rache with a running hip attack. Toni spiked her with the Storm Zero and won via pinfall. The numbers are there. 22 straight wins for Timeless Toni Storm. That is a pretty doggone good record. 22 wins, that's a lot of pay-per-views. It's also a lot of specialty matches that they've run on AEW, which, Mariah May, and, Toni Storm, Harley Cameron, Saraya, all of them. Hell yeah, you know it. See here, where we at again? Numbers are there. The Don Callis on his feet family and Kyle Fletcher versus the Machine Terminator Brian Cage. I call him Terminator because he. Have you seen this dude, man? Okay, anyway. Whew. Don Callis joins the broadcast booth for this match. Kyle Fletcher has a match with MJF in a mere 4 days, says Tony Schiavone. Cage took down Fletcher with a big bad elbow, with a big back elbow. Meanwhile in the ring, Fletcher fired back with a big knee strike. Fletcher jumped out of the ring with a tope suicide to the Machine. Whipped Kyle back into the steel part of the ramp and smashed into Cage with a cannonball. Yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Basically, they went back and forth a little bit. And, Kyle Fletcher got a shot in, and so did Brian Cage. Anyway, back in the ring, Cage suplexed Fletcher and drilled Fletcher with a Death Valley driver. Cage began to pick Fletcher apart. Even Tony Schiavone was like, he's been all over Kyle since the minute the match started. And that was absolutely correct. Couldn't argue with that. Fletcher rallied back with 2 thrust kicks to Cage, followed by a brain buster. Fletcher flew at Cage with a forearm in the corner. Fletcher hit a Blue Thunder bomb on Cage for a near fall. The fans began to chant again, "This is awesome, this is awesome." I mean, the fans were behind. This was a good fan base. I mean, in all seriousness, fan base was really, really, really good. I can't argue with that. Let's see here. This is awesome. Fletcher jumped off the ropes, crashed into Cage with a springboard elbow drop. Cage retaliated with a discus lariat. Fletcher powerbombed Cage out of nowhere for the near fall. And, of course, Nigel's popped in there, said Kyle Fletcher is showing talent beyond his years, which, not really. If you've seen Kyle Fletcher is just damn good. Kyle attempted to suplex Cage. Cage countered with a spinning slam off the middle turnbuckle to a 2 count. Cage rolled for the drill claw, but Kyle rolled up Cage in the near fall. Fletcher spiked Cage with a tombstone pile driver and pinned him. That was pretty much the end of that match. Kyle Fletcher picks up the mic and says, "Right now I want to talk to one person only, MJF. MJF, yes. The most self-centered son of a bitch I've ever met. I just dropped a 300-pound monster on his neck, and if that happens to you on Wednesday, maybe you don't get to Wembley." No. Oh. Maybe you don't get to Wembley. If you're the American hero you say you are, this Wednesday you'll put the American Championship on the line, and then maybe I go to Wembley as the international champion and face my best friend Will Ospreay. Yes, that would actually be a hell of a match. I wouldn't mind seeing that. So how about it, Max? You going to accept, or are you going to coward like we think you are? Are you the coward we think you are? What am I looking for here? Give me just a minute, guys. My phone keeps blowing up. It always does that in the middle of the stream. Sorry about that. So, MJF appears on the big screen. "Hey, Kyle Fletcher, up here. You sound like a moron." Ooh, there's big time heat. "I sound like a perfect American." Yeah, dumb heat, but heat nonetheless. "You're just a typical foreign invader trying to steal things away from hard-working Americans like myself that you haven't earned. Gee, where have we heard this one before? Oh my God. Just, trying not to sneeze really loud, guys. Bear with me here. I'm not just an American hero. I'm not just handsome and humble. Hey, God, well, 0 out of 2 is pretty bad. I'm the salt of the earth. So I'm going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime, Kyle Fletcher. Here is the opportunity. I'm going to give you an eliminator match this coming Wednesday on Dynamite, meaning if you can beat me, I'm willing to give you that shot at the Almighty American Championship the following week. But I'm going to teach you what real wrestling is all about. And that lesson you can thank me for later. Lexi Nair was backstage to interview Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin, and the latest addition to the crew, Leah Gray. When Top Flight rang my call button, Leah said, I stepped up and together we are taking off and going straight to the top. Dante, meaning new look, but same goal, and that goal, the M&M collection, Mason and Mansoor interrupt Top Flight. Mansoor, I think I figured out what TSA stand for. Their style is ass. Darius, you two interrupting us just put you on our no-fly list. And we're back to the ring here. Thunder Rosa versus Tyra Valkyrie with Johnny TV. Taya stomped on Thunder Rosa in the corner of the ring. Taya chopped Thunder Rosa and then kicked Thunder Rosa after a snapmare. Thunder Rosa cracked Taya with a knee strike and then a sliding lariat. That seems to be very popular these days. If you watched the Bloodsport, GCW Bloodsport this past week, you saw that both of the brothers won with a, sliding lariat. Taya rolled out of the ring to collect her thoughts. Taya evaded Thunder Rosa and then wrenched on Thunder Rosa's arm. Taya smashed Thunder Rosa with a double kick into the turnbuckle. Thunder Rosa found an opening after a neck breaker. Thunder Rosa mounted to come back, hammering Taya with strikes and kicks. Thunder Rosa then hit a running drop kick for a near fall. Johnny TV yanked Taya out of the ring. Johnny TV got in between his wife and Thunder Rosa. He lured Thunder in while Taya speared Thunder Rosa on the arena floor. This only served to infuriate Rosa much more. Thunder Rosa, Thunder Rosa, Thunder Rosa. Woo! She locked Taya in the middle in a modified Cobra Clutch and Taya tapped out. Thunder Rosa grabbed a mic and said she's not going to waste time. Oh boy. She's got some unfinished business with Deonna Purrazzo, and she needed to get her little ass out there. The virtuoso Deonna Purrazzo walked down the ramp. What else could you possibly want from me? A congratulations from me because you won your last 2 singles matches? Well, that was cold. You're on a winning streak just like I was when I beat you 3 times in a row. Thunder Rosa says, you don't follow the rules and you never truly beat me. Deonna says, I've beaten you in a singles match, I've beaten you in a no disqualification match, and most recently I beat you in a lumberjack match. So if you want another match, go ahead and take your pick and seal your fate. Okay, says Thunder Rosa. How about here in Arlington, Texas? Next week, Deonna Purrazzo against Thunder Rosa in a Texas bull rope match. Hang on a second here. Yeah, it does. Anyway. With that said, the match was accepted. So next week on Collision, we have a Texas bull rope match between Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, which I personally will be seated for. We will be covering it. I don't think there's any pay-per-views next week on Saturday night, so I'll definitely be back on Saturday night with my regular start time right after Collision coming live again from Arlington, Texas. I will be back for my regular start time. And that takes us straight to the main event. FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler. Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe and Darby Allin versus the Beast Morto and the Undisputed Kingdom. Roderick Strong and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. Bear with me just 1 second here. We need a little drink of water. Oh, this was actually a good match, and once again, I will say that I'm very happy that Toni is giving the Beast Mortos a lot more television time. Been on television twice this week. Once with oh come on, Matt, Hologram. Once with Hologram on Wednesday, which was a match you didn't want to miss, and tonight on Collision in the 8-man tag. The Beast Mortos, yes, see here. Roddy ate a shoulder tackle from Dax, followed by an arm drag. Cash grabbed a tag, and he whipped Roddy into the turnbuckle shoulder first. Mark and Darby worked over Roddy's arm. Dax tagged back in, but Roddy slugged him and tagged in Mike Bennett. Dax and Bennett had a chop fest until Dax brought Bennett to the mat with a snap suplex. Dax and Mark hit a double shoulder tackle on Bennett. The fans kept shouting, "Them boys, them boys." You're telling me right now that Mark Briscoe is not over? I got words for you, man. He's over with the fans. Whether you like it or don't like it, you know, it is what it is. Briscoe suplexed Taven. Darby Allin dropped Taven with an arm drag. Cash backdropped Roddy, and then Mike Bennett. Cash walloped Taven with a bulldog. Roddy then ran in the ring to prevent Cash from tagging out to his partners. Mark Briscoe finally got the hot tag. He cleaned house on the Undisputed Kingdom with the redneck kung fu. Briscoe flipped off the apron with a neck breaker onto the Beast Mortos. Mark Briscoe blasted Taven with a brain buster for a near fall. Then he planted Taven with a Death Valley driver. Cash hoisted up Taven and tossed him to Dax. And Dax nailed Taven with a neck breaker. Mark followed up with a froggy bow. Dax went for the cover, but Roderick Strong ran in to break up the pin attempt. Yet again, Roddy's getting good at this. Hey, we're sitting on 21 viewers. Thank you all for joining us, by the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very excited about that. I always like to see new viewers. Go ahead and like, give me a comment, you know, give me some chats to work with here too. And while you're at it, go ahead and share the stream. I want to see it grow as much as possible. We're sitting at 21, so it's growing. I'm up by 5 over last week. I'm loving it. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Darby charged in with splashes on Roderick and Taven. Briscoe and the Beast Mortos brawled outside the ring. Dax superplexed Taven. Cash splashed Taven from the top. Mark dropped the froggy bow, and then Darby nailed Taven with the coffin drop and picked up the pin. That was a pretty good back and forth match. That's the whole thing of it right there. I like the screen time that the Beast Mortos is getting. I think he needs more. In fact, I think he needs to be on every show at this point until you get him out there pretty well. Fans just didn't quite know what to do with him at first, but then they remembered, they got into it. And of course, out come the mics, out comes everything here. Dax does his I love professional wrestling. On top of that, I love AEW. This is the lifeblood of AEW right here in this ring. We are the heart and soul of AEW. And the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass popped out and interrupted as well. Max said, cut the music. The heart and soul of AEW? Really? I don't think so. The Acclaimed is... God. That's the Acclaimed. And if you really loved AEW, let me ask, where were you last week when I was in blood and guts against the Elite? Your body can't hold up to the grind. Uh-oh. Got him. I mean, seriously, this whole promo was like So, and I'm just going to break through it. And then at the end of the day, Anthony says, I don't know what else we have to do to earn your respect because, like Max said last week, we were giving our bodies for this company. Guys, respectfully, we don't care about your legacy. We care about ours. We're homegrown. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Homegrown. Like a weed, you're homegrown. And the FTR and the Elaine began to brawl. Mark Briscoe tried to talk some sense into him. Briscoe said, this is what the Young Bucks want. Chill out. Their plan is to divide and conquer. So let's just show some unity here. We are AEW. FTR offered a handshake. The Elaine walked away without accepting it. This is far from resolved. Yeah, he does. And that closes out AEW Collision. I got a couple of thoughts on it. First off, I have heard that Collision is going to 3 hours on Thursday. Do not do that. You can go to Thursday. I got no problems with Thursday. Because then that would have all the shows lining up. You'd have Dynamite Wednesday, Collision Thursday, Rampage Friday. Then, if you wanted to leave up some time for, Saturday pay-per-views, since you're going to Max, that might not be a bad idea. But do not do 3 hours unless you're going to bring 2.5 out of it as wrestling. Otherwise, you're gonna kill this product. And I hate to say it that way, but and I know everybody's dying to say, oh, this product's dead, this product's dead. It's not dead. It's not dead at all. It's quite full. And to say otherwise would be absolutely ridiculous. So my thing here, I know Tony's not watching the stream, but somebody might say something. Tony, seriously, bro. Seriously, bro. Thursday's fine, 3 hours, not so much. Unless you've decided that we're going to have an awful lot of wrestling, very little talking, and you're going to save like Dynamite for your promos. If you're going to save Dynamite for your promos, or you're going to save Rampage for your promo spills, that would be perfectly fine. 3 hours of wrestling, a little bit of talking, ain't got a problem with that. Not at all. Not at all. Let's see here. Let me get another drink of water, and we're going to jump right into, oh God. We're going to jump into SummerSlam 2024, which kind of had me feeling like the whole time, I kind of felt like it was, have you been injured by a shitty storyline? Call us at XYZ and we'll get you the maximum compensation. Every time I see a plea these days, that's the first thing that comes through my mind. Has your brain been whacked by watching stupid shit? Call us. You may be entitled to compensation. That's pretty much how I look at it. And, yeah. However, I've seen a few streams kind of land-based SummerSlam. This is going to be a report based only. I'm going to try my best to keep my own comments out of it, except for the ones that I think are pretty reasonable comments, because the reality of it is, I'm not going to say it was a bad show because there were moments in there that I enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed watching LA Knight finally get over. I enjoyed CM Punk finally getting in the ring in a one-on-one situation on TV. Now, for those of y'all who are not in the know, if you live under a rock, CM Punk's had exactly 3 matches as of today. He was in the Royal Rumble. He got hurt in the Royal Rumble. He came back. He had a match with Dominic Mysterio. Then he was in the Royal Rumble. Then he had an injury, etc., etc., etc. And he was out for quite a while. So this is going to be his first singles match back. And honestly, I couldn't be any more proud of him than I am right now, because I'm glad to see him in the ring as a 53-year-old man myself. Anybody pushing that kind of age that can do any of that, hey, kudos to you, man. I hope he didn't get hurt. We did have a couple of injuries in here. One not so bad, one apparently pretty much worth talking about. I'm sitting here live on 20 viewers, man. I'm loving it. Like, comment, share. By all means, hit the chats. Hit the chats. I want to hear what you guys got to say, too. Or read it, hear it, whichever one it is. Hit the chats. I mean, seriously. I'm really just kind of walking around trying not to walk into this eyes wide open, but I mean, if I don't, we're never going to get done. We're never going to get home. So let's go ahead and get started with your 2024 SummerSlam review. And of course, the match opens, or the show opens up with Triple H making his way out to start, and then basically just says, "Are you ready?" Spot time that could have been given to somebody else, but I get it. I get it, Triple H. I get it. I get it. You know, and trust me, if I ever get there, I'll probably be the same way as you when it comes down to when I'm done. I still want to walk out there and get one more pop. And fortunately for you in your position, you're going to be able to get plenty of more pops. So, but yeah, he walks out there. We've seen Stephanie there. Lot of mentionables. Steiner brothers are there, which tells me, I mean, there are a few things that kind of gave the match away. The Steiners are not going to fly all the way out for a loss. Okay, so, but we'll get to that one in just a few minutes. I find it absolutely amazing that WWE never fully explains their match order to anybody. And when I was sitting in a chat yesterday, we got to the CM Punk Drew McIntyre, and I realized we had 2 world title matches left. First words out of my mouth was horrible booking. So if I'm going to say something and not be terribly rude, match placement for me in this show was absolutely awful. Because there are a couple of matches you could have started with to warm the crowd up. I don't know. We could have started with the U.S. title match. We could have started with the Intercontinental title match. Either one of those would have probably warmed the crowd up pretty well, and it would have probably gotten them ready for the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley match. But, yeah, here we are. I never ceases to amaze me. You've got one of your highly anticipated returns kicking off like they were the curtain jerking match. Like, why? But that's neither here nor there. Women's World Championship match, Liv Morgan as champion versus Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio would be in Rhea Ripley's corner. Bear with me here just one second. He would be in Rhea Ripley's corner, and you know, the opening of the match. I'm going to go into this for a little bit because for everybody that thinks Liv Morgan is not a good wrestler, she's nothing but eye candy and easy pickings for Rhea Ripley. I want to start you off with the opening of that match. Now, excuse me. WWE fans, when you're sitting there talking about ring psychology and who has it and who doesn't, okay, I did not see one post about ring psychology through that entire match because Liv Morgan played that ring in the beginning of the match and during the entirety of the match. That was all psychology. Every bit of it was. You know? So I miss me with WWE wrestlers don't know how to do ring psychology. Like I said, this is not going to be a negative. I'm not going to, I didn't like the show terribly much, but I appreciated the content. If that makes really any sense to anybody at all, I'm not going to hate on this show. I'm not going to hate on any show. I'm not going to hate on any show where the participants get in there, they put their bodies on the line all the time, every move, every part of the match. I'm not going to hate on that. I refuse to. Now, some people can hate on it. Some people have logical ways to hate on it, and I'm down with that too. If you want to find a logical way to hate on it, be my guest. I can't hate on this match. I was trying to hate on this match, and I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Because this was the match that all the fanboys were going crazy over. Because everybody wanted to know who was going to retain possession of Dominic Mysterio. Didn't a damn soul care about the belt. I'm sorry, championship title. Nobody gave a shit in Chinese money about the championship title. This was all about custody of Dom. And so, yeah, there was a lot of ring psychology. Liv kept sliding out of the ring, and as soon as Rhea would chase her, she'd slide back in the ring. Rhea would slide back in to chase her, so on and so forth. Rhea finally got the upper hand, and that one iconic moment where they're both laying flat on the mat looking at each other, and that look in Liv's eye. Good selling work, by the way. Rhea worked her ass off in this match. I am not kidding. Rhea Ripley worked her ass completely off. At the end of that match, wasn't no ass left. She worked her ass off in that match. Totally. Whew. Once Ripley did catch Morgan, though, it was all one-way traffic. She was beating the living shit out of her for quite a long time. Ripley looked to wrap up the match early when she hit Riptide on the top turnbuckle, but her second attempt failed just as Mommy looked dominant. Morgan threw Ripley into the ring post with the challenger's shoulder appearing to pop out. Now, that thing didn't appear to pop out. Some bitch popped out. I have a weak shoulder. I'd show you all the surgery, but, hey, I have a weak shoulder. I know what a popped out shoulder looks like. That's my one injury that I'm concerned about. The other two, those guys are going to be fine. Frankly, I don't care what happens to Logan Paul. I do care what happens to Jacob Fatu, but I don't wish injury on anybody. I'm just not as compassionate or concerned about Logan Paul as I am Rhea Ripley and Jacob Fatu. Logan Paul, you're a douche, dude. I mean, you are a complete douche canoe, but I'll get to that in a minute. Wow, we're up to 23 viewers. Keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, 23 viewers. All right. In an intense moment, in an intense moment, that's a funny way of saying it because I've actually done this move before. Rhea Ripley gets up to the announce table, thrusts herself in a certain way, pops her shoulder back into socket. It's hard enough to watch a man do that. And I'm going to tell you something. I won't say that I've never had an accident popping my shoulder back in place because that thing hurts like a mug. And then she gave her arm a jerk to make sure it was in place. Oh my God. Anyway, to the shock of Morgan and basically the WWE Universe, despite pain coursing through her shoulders, Ripley hit Morgan with the riptide before going outside, flipping out, grabbing a steel chair, coming back in. And it looked like she was going to hit Liv Morgan with the chair. Dom then grabbed the chair out of her hand and said, no, 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 you'll lose, you'll lose. You can't win the championship that way. Morgan took advantage of the distraction by hitting Ripley with the Oblivion, but Ripley kicks out at 2. Morgan is sitting there about to cry now. And you could definitely tell Liv was about to cry. That was a good facial expression on Liv Morgan. But yeah, the referee grabs the chair, throws it out of the ring. Dominic grabs the chair again, slides it under the ring post, and we're like, okay, this is the last 2 matches. Dom was out for Becky Lynch. Dom was out for, oh man, her name escapes me, the shorter lady. Oh, goodness gracious. It's on the tip of my tongue. After you've had 3 or 4 concussions, you can't remember everything, so just kind of bear with me here. And anyway, the outcome was the same, so they slides the chair under the ring. And sure enough, while the referee's distracted, Liv Morgan hits Oblivion on the chair, kicks the chair out of the ring. Rhea Ripley is out like a light. 1, 2, and 3. The ending of this match was shit, okay? If you were gonna do the Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio angle that way, it should have been part of the match. And then Dominic could have at least pretended like, no, No, I don't want to go with her. Kind of like the baby doll thing with Dusty Rhodes back in the day when Dusty Rhodes won baby doll for 30 days. For like the first week or so, maybe the first couple of weeks, she was real apprehensive and everything else, and then she kind of moved into the role. That's when you knew the flip was coming. That's when you knew the turn was going to happen. When she started schmoozing into Dusty. See, there's a whole nother angle there you could have gone. And we didn't go that route. And that's why I gave it because that's basically what the finish of the match was. It was an absolute horseshit finish, and I stand on that. For as good as that match was, the finish killed it for me. Although, I gotta say, Dominic slipped out of there and he laid that smooch on top of Liv. I was taken back. I thought, oh my goodness, this is the swerve of the night. This is going to be the swerve of the night. Then I got to thinking about it. It's like it should have been part of the match. That would have sold it a whole lot more. And that's part of WWE's booking. It's part of everything else. And I'm not going to crap on their booking. I'm really not. I'm trying to give I'm trying to give at least a reasonably honest, positive review. And I'm being as honest as I possibly can. I know I'm throwing a few things in there that might sound like I'm throwing you a curveball, but I'm not really throwing you a curveball. I'm just putting in a couple of thoughts to where I think the match could have been better, because WWE is creatively bankrupt right now. And it's basically the fans' fault. They had to have Roman come back to make that plea, the PLE. They had to have Roman come back. Roman could not sit down any longer. The plea was horrible, and I don't care what the numbers were. They did not sell out. If they sold out, somebody forgot to tell the ticket vendor, because they still got 2,000 more tickets for sale. So the idea that Roman Reigns was definitely going to have to make a comeback, when I saw them lie about their numbers, I'm like, nah, Roman's definitely coming back tonight, because they got to glaze over that. They got to glaze over the numbers, because that's typically what your WWE fans make the most out of. They don't give a shit about wrestling. They're like, oh, numbers, dude. You didn't even hit your millie, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Anyway, but what would have made that match a whole lot better for me, in general, would have had Dominic included in the match. If you had Dominic included in the match, this thing would have hit about 5 times harder than it did. And the problem, the reason that it missed its mark was because the swerve was unnecessary. I'm going to say that again. The swerve was unnecessary booking. You could have booked Dom in the match, and when Rhea lost through his own malfeasance, then you could have at least sold this angle for a couple of more weeks. That's really what I was posting on. You could sell the angle for a couple of more weeks. Then, Dom gets that, what do they call that effect? Somebody help me out in the chat. I know what it is. Stockholm Syndrome. I was trying to think. That would have given Dom the Stockholm Syndrome. Next thing you know, he could have been like out to dinner with Liv and kind of acting like he was into it, but then like when the camera would pan over to him, be like, please help me, mommy. Yeah, there's a lot you could have done with this segment, and we didn't do it. We just didn't do it. So while I'm giving you a positive review of the match, because the match was balls, especially with Rhea kicking her shoulder in like that, that was man shit. And anytime I see man shit in a women's wrestling match, I automatically mark out for it. That's some man shit right there. So when she popped her shoulder into that announce table, I marked. I'm not going to lie. The match was beautiful. But then they rolled up and took shit on it with the ending, and that's fine. I didn't know who wanted to see what, where, when, why, and how, but I do know as a natural fact that if they had ended it the way I was telling you, if they'd have had him involved in the match and she actually won him due to his own malfeasance, this thing could have told a better story, and you could have... Never mind, I'm giving too much away, and I tell you what, when we get to the Damian Priest match, I'll continue this conversation. After which, we had the Intercontinental Championship match, Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Braun would hit the spear, running the ropes to get the 1-2-3 on this piece here. And, oh my goodness, I do believe I heard something. That was good sound. Good deal, good deal. I don't know what I heard because I can't see it. The screen is about this big for me, guys. That's why I'm asking you to hit the chats. I can read the chats, but I can't see what's going on with that. So bear with me on that part. Anyway, the match kicked off here. The Intercontinental I'm sorry, I'm trying to run that match back in my head, and it's just, every time I run it back in my head, I just, I keep coming back to Dom should have been part of the match. If Dom had been part of the match, oh my God, we're up to 30 viewers. Yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming. We got 30 viewers live in the motherfucking house. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, Braun Breaker came up short in the last match. He didn't really come up short. He came up shitty booking. I'm not going to say he came up short. Should have won the match the last time. This should have been a blow-off match. And here we are again. We got 2 matches in. You got his family there. Of course he's going to win. It started off kind of like a squash, so to speak. Bear with me here for just 1 minute. And then Sammy did his come from behind. And then Sammy went to do something, and, excuse me, Breaker just speared him. And that wasn't good enough, though. He was all hunked over, and then that's when Breaker did his run the ropes. Oh, my God, 23 miles an hour. Just in case you missed it, because WWE likes to play that up really well. 23 miles an hour for a spear basically would kill an average individual. Just so you know, 23 miles an hour. If you get hit by a car doing 23 miles an hour, you will not survive. If you get hit by a motorcycle, you got a shot, but you're going to break bones. You get hit by a human being, that square in there, it will actually break ribs and will probably rearrange your entrails and make them your extrails. That's just a fact. So when you hear Michael Cole saying, oh, look, a 23 mile... No, that didn't happen. If that happened, Sami Zayn's eyes would have popped out of his head. His ears would have bled. His head would have split wide open when he hit the mat because he'd be dead. Okay? That's just it. But all in all, Braun Breaker gets the win. Much deserved win. Much deserved Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. I'm guessing that after maybe 6 months, Intercontinental title, they're going to put him in a world title or WWE title picture. That's when we're really going to see what Braun's got up here. It doesn't take much to get over on Sami Zayn. Okay, Sammy, I love you to death, dude. I like watching you wrestle, but you're still you're the lib dude. You're like the liberal that you want to make sure you get your politics on television. I get it, and that's fine. I'm good with that. I love you to death, man, but, I'm glad to see the title off of you. Don't want to see any more titles on you for at least a year. No pause. After that match, we get... Oh, hey, how's it going? How are we going? After that match, we get the United States Championship match. We got LA Knight and Logan Paul. Guys, this was not worthy of an LA Knight feud. And I don't care about Logan Paul's comments on Twitter. I don't care about his comments on Facebook. I don't care about his comments in his podcast. I don't care what he's got to say about anybody who's trans. I don't really care. Logan Paul as a human being is trash. I don't care if he's got 6 million viewers. I don't care if he's got 60 Hummer trucks and all the money in the world. He's still trash. That's the bottom line. And the fact that LA Knight had to work with this piece of trash and carry him a lot. Now granted, Logan Paul did well on the mic. They went tit for tat on the mic. Athletically, anything else, No, 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 no. Where am I at here? I'm looking for it. When I find it, I'm glad to see that the title is back where it belongs on an actual wrestler. But I'm going to get into the match now. Even after being hit by a pair of brass knuckles, LA Knight would reverse a buckshot lariat attempt into the BFT to get the win and become the new U.S. champion. Action was at a premium between these two gentlemen because they always bring. Now, I will say this: Logan Paul always brings it to the ring. I love it. He always brings it to the ring, you know. And then, of course, we get the megastar hopping out of Logan Paul's Hummer. Oh, God, that was horrible. I wish we could escape that, but we couldn't. Once the bell rang, Paul put on a huge springboard moonsault from the ring to the outside, wowing the WWE Universe, and that was his only move. You know what, Logan? At least John Cena has 5 moves of doom. You have like 2. And one of them is that stupid hand gimmick. If you've got a plate in your hand, no. No, because as soon as you hit somebody hard enough to knock them out, it's busting your knuckles. Ain't nobody buying that. Some people might buy it. Your fans might buy it. I don't buy it. God, I can't say enough about how well. Shout out to LA Knight. This is kind of random here. It's not on my script list here. But shout out to LA Knight. LA Knight has worked the NWA. LA Knight has worked TNA. LA Knight has worked a lot of independent work. LA Knight has worked 21 years in this business. Shout out to LA Knight. I'm giving him his flowers. That U.S. title is not only deserved, it was expected. Comments notwithstanding, trans posts notwithstanding, I expected you to go out there and win that title, and damn it, you went out there and did it. Thank you. Thank you. And before anybody jumps all over me, yes, I know this is a predetermined sport. I completely understand that. I know it's a predetermined sport. I did get a text message for that, and I'm like, you're funny. I know it is. I don't have to worry about that. Miss me with the rest of that shit. Okay, please, and thank you. No pause. Let's see here. Let's get back into the show. I had a spot where I was at, and I'm trying to get my spot back here. Knight hit a huge fisherman suplex, nearly winning the match in extraordinary fashion. I rated Paul's entourage. Knight pulled the Mavericks' buddies over to the ringside barricade, and stomped on him before Paul threw the megastar into the ring post. After MGK gave Logan Stupid the brass knucks, Paul blasted Knight with the brass knucks, readying for a springboard somersault clothesline. Just as the Maverick was about to clobber the challenger, Knight countered with a BFT, scoring the pin 1-2-3. Not enough can be made of this. These are just my quick notes just so I don't forget anything. But not enough can be made of this. LA Knight's been hot for over a year. Y'all screwed him at the pay-per-views. Y'all screwed him for the world title shots, but at least you got the U.S. title. And I still believe the only reason he's getting the U.S. title is because Logan Paul made a transphobic comment. And that's it. I don't think they're giving it to him because they feel like he deserves it. I think they're giving it to him because he just happened to be there when the comment was made. On a side note, I don't know if that was Logan Paul's way of trying to get out of a match or trying to get out of the wrestling business. But if it was, you succeeded, because a lot of wrestlers are not going to work with you because nobody wants that stink on them. Now, I keep my politics to myself, and I don't care how much money you got, sir. You should do the same. Oh, boy. Then we get into the women's championship match between Bayley and Nia Jax. Yet another much-awaited title change that should have happened quite a while ago and did not happen. So, shout out to Nia Jax for actually getting through the match with somebody who is absolutely boring to work with. So, shout out to Nia Jax for a title win over that. That in and of itself was one of my moments for the night. It really was, because I can't tell you exactly how heartwarming it was to see Nia finally get her flowers. I don't like the character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of the character. I am a fan of the person, though. And it was nice to see Nia Jax not only get Queen of the Ring, but also get the WWE Women's Championship in a proper venue. This is not a B-show win right here. This is a win in one of the four major PLEs, and that's really what she deserved the whole time. But anyway, getting into the match, an awesome moment. Bayley summoned all her strength to carry Jax halfway across the ring and drop her with a power bomb. Bayley immediately followed it with a flying elbow, but once again Jax kicked out. With both superstars exhausted, Miss Money in the Bank Tiffany Stratton ran down to the ring. Oh. That somebody just shoot me. Get it over with. This is going to be another one of the longest, most wasted cash outs ever in the history of this event. If this is the way you're going to keep running these things, WWE, just get rid of the Money in the Bank. There's no suspense to it, and it turns into some bullshit distraction near the end. And this time, though, Bayley blasted Stratton with the right hand, and she hopped onto the apron. But the distraction resulted in Jax hitting two Annihilators to crown herself WWE Women's Champion. I am a big fan of protecting the finish. Now, let me qualify that. I saw the first Annihilator. And I'm going to be honest with you. It didn't look like Nia put all of it into that particular move. In fact, it looked like she landed kind of fluff as to not hurt her and not take a chance on hurting her, and I get that part of it. So in a way, I can almost justify Bayley kicking out, but that was still the finisher. As soon as you see the finisher, there is no worse time ever to have a kick out than with everybody invested in that finish, just to have her kick out. Protect the finish, WWE. You can do way better. That's what I think about not protecting the finish. Exactly. Anyway, Nia Jax wins the title. Her and Tiffy celebrate in the ring. We now have your Queen of the Ring as your WWE Women's Champion, and quite frankly, I couldn't be happier. If anybody deserved the title, it was Nia Jax. Nia Jax has also paid her dues. She came back better, stronger, leaner, and better on the mic. So if anybody thought she was not going over on Bayley, yeah, come on. Bayley is about boring as paint drying and grass growing simultaneously. Bayley, I love you as a person, but your in-ring style is boring, okay? No pause, not sorry, not even remotely sorry. Now you say, well, no, Jax is just a big old woman, and all she does is flop on people. No, she doesn't. She actually remotely hits the Samoan drop better than most of the Samoans do. She has good in-ring style, and yes, I will agree that when she was here prior, she was a little reckless and dangerous. This time, I have seen no one hurt around her, which, hey, with that finishing move, I'm shocked, because all it takes is one slip, and all them ribs are gone. They're gone. Seriously. I don't know what it is. I wish I could just sneeze and get it over with, but it's just going to be one of those days where I can't sneeze and get it over with. We are at 33 viewers. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, that's what I love to hear right there. If you would please drop a chat in there. Somebody dropped a chat in off of Twitch. I have no earthly idea who this is. But, one of these days I'll go in and take a look and make sure they didn't drop porn. Now, if you drop porn, I'm going to block you. I'll go in there. I'll find somebody to block you if you do that. But everything else is pretty much on the table. Even if you don't like what I'm saying, step out, call me out, and let's talk about it. I'm more than fine to talk about it. I'll even wait on you. If it's something you disagree with, set me straight. That's what I thought. See, we're bringing you that good work. We're bringing you that great work. And I'm going to take a moment here, and I'm just going to get off to an aside on this one because remember when I opened up with WWE SummerSlam talking about how the product was reasonably good, the match order sucked? This is one of those scenarios where the match order was just completely out of place. And I was in a chat room watching the show with everybody else. And I'm trying to get a feel for it, trying to get a feel for what they're saying. You know, when I sit in spaces with y'all, when I sit in, chats and spaces, I'm really trying to test the temperature of things when we're watching stuff together. I really want to know what you think about it. So I, sizably said, and rightfully said, when they announced that Drew McIntyre and CM Punk were getting ready to get it on, I said, this is the worst possible place they could preface this match. And everyone's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is the worst time to put this match on. This should have either opened it or closed it. And everyone's like, why? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, because the two world champions have to follow this. It was supposed to be the hottest angle out there. I mean, these guys have been fighting all over the damn world. They were in Scotland. They were elsewhere. They're in all over the United States. CM Punk's been screwing him left and right. This thing has gone global. So why in the world would you put that in front of your title matches? With no room in between for the fans to... Okay, that was interesting. Now let's get into this. That's kind of how match flow works. You want to start off with some builders, a couple of curtain jerkers. Then you work your way up a little bit further, and a little bit further, to the crescendo, which is the main event. This should have either been the crescendo or the opener so everybody could get it all out of their system in time for the actual title matches, because we had a lot of politics going on with these last two matches too. We had a lot invested in both of these angles, and plus we're all figuring that at some point in time, maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns would make his return. And if you have a match of this magnitude, that's the word I'm looking for. If you have a match this magnitude before those, it's going to eat some of it up. We are an hour and 24 minutes into this thing now, and I'm telling you right now, I could go another 2 hours. I'm not going to, trust me. I'm not going to. Because we're pretty much halfway through SummerSlam. But anyway, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. As soon as the bell rang, the special guest referee had to get out of Dodge because Punk and McIntyre were genuinely pounding the shit out of each other right in the middle of the ring. It's like they were going off. They teed off. McIntyre landed the first big blow when the fight spilled to ringside, hitting a catapult to send Punk throat first into the steel rungs under the ring. Scottish Warrior stepped up the onslaught by delivering several power bombs before bringing a steel chair into the ring. Just as McIntyre was about to use the weapon, Rollins took it away. Rollins looked to hit McIntyre with a steel chair, but McIntyre ducked. Luckily, Rollins stopped himself before he connected with Punk. As Rollins threw away the weapon, Punk rolled McIntyre up, but Rollins was slow to count, allowing McIntyre to kick out. Punk eventually hits his emotional standbys. That's what generally happens. When he lets his emotions get away with him, you can actually tell the difference between a work and a shoot for CM Punk. When Punk is working, he'll get up there, he'll ham it up, he'll be corny, he'll be all this crap. And then it's like, then he gets back to being silly. In this particular moment right here, you could definitely tell his emotions were getting the better of him. I mean, that was legit. That was a shoot. That wasn't a work. And he took back the bracelet that McIntyre stole by removing it from the Scottish Warrior's wrist. His emotional act nearly cost him. So McIntyre clobbered Punk with the Claymore, but Punk kicked out. As Punk was about to hit McIntyre with a go to sleep, Punk saw that Rollins had his bracelet on his wrist. McIntyre used the fracas to hit Punk into Rollins. Punk's GTS attempt was successful, but Rollins again slowed to the count, allowing McIntyre to kick out again. Punk became incensed as the Visionary as the two engaged in a war of words that ended with a GTS from Punk to Rollins. Now, I'm going to jump in here on this one real quick. 33 viewers. That's what I'm talking about right there. If any of you were paying attention to what Rollins said to Punk, I am not. In fact, I'm almost absolutely sure that was a shoot. Because he looked him square in the face and said, nobody wanted you here. We all wish you would leave. You're a cancer on the product. You need to get the hell out of here, etc., etc. I believe that was a shoot. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that that was Seth Rollins telling CM Punk to his face, you're a piece of shit. Nobody wanted you around here. Get the hell out. I'm going to call this any way I want to call it. If you win, great. If you don't, no big deal. No big deal at all. So with Rollins out of the equation, McIntyre booted Punk below the belt. He gets in a low blow. Then actually hits him with the Claymore one more time, and a very slow count. It took Rollins forever to get over there to make the count. Rollins eventually does make the count, though, 1, 2, 3, and that is the end of the match. And, of course, we were happy that the match was over with, but then McIntyre just cannot let it go. He gets a hold of the bracelet and takes it off of CM Punk's wrist, puts it back on his wrist, kisses it, and starts on his way backwards. Meanwhile, the person who actually gifted the bracelet to CM Punk, if you heard the news at the beginning of the show, they actually want to be compensated since the bracelet is part of the angle, which that ain't going to happen. Whoever you are, not going to happen. We're at 35 viewers. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. And after we got the ring all cleaned up and happy and everything again, we're getting into our WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian Priest and Gunther, the General. You can tell I can't stand him. A little less Nazi with my world title, please. Did I say that out loud? Absolutely I did. I'm not even worried about it. Gunther picked up the pin. We're going to talk about this match a little bit because this feeds back into the drama back earlier in the Liv and Rhea match where we were sitting there and we watched Dominic Mysterio get Liv up, plant a kiss on her, and then it was all let a player play. That player was playing all over hell in half of Georgia or half of Ohio. Either way. So we're here at the Damian Priest and Gunther match. This was some good back and forth. I was actually starting to believe that Damian Priest was going to win this match. I know that I called Priest as the winner when I set up my final right before SummerSlam. I then started watching the drama unfold. And as I saw the drama unfold, it was very clear to me that obviously they're not going to stick to long title reigns with people they don't like. Damian Priest, if you are within the sound of my voice, you are a fantastic champion. Some of it was a little bit repetition. Some of it was a little bit of mush. But that's the WWE product. It has nothing to do with your work. Your work was reasonably good. And I wish I could reasonably sneeze and get this itch out of my nose. But bear with me, guys. We're working on it. 35 viewers. Ah, man, this is beautiful. This is almost double what I had. This is over double what I had for the last stream. Thank you very much. I hope you guys come back, like the stream. Save the stream. Hey, come back, join us. I pop up on Saturday nights most of the time around 10:30, and sometimes during the week, but I do announce my weekly ones well in advance so you're not taken by surprise. 35 people. So here we are, first two world title matches. We got Gunther, we got Damian Priest. Good back and forth on this thing right here. Um, yeah, Priest definitely took the fight to him. We thought it was going to be like in the first 2 minutes of it. Priest came on like gobsmacks, and it's like well, I thought Priest was going to wrap this match up in 10 minutes, and that was throwing off my predictions a little bit. Now, once I had figured all that out, I got smartened up after the first match. I did call the first match. I did call how it was going to go down. I just didn't get that finish at all because I had no belief that Dominic Mysterio was going to jump the broom this quick. I expected him to jump the broom. In fact, I made a big long post about how Liv and Rhea could actually milk this thing for a while longer. Oh, wow, thank you, whoever that was. I don't see it yet. I probably won't see it for a while, but thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Keep like gang, comment gang, share gang. Let's stick with that. I knew eventually that Dominic was going to take a walk on the wild side. I just didn't expect him to take a walk on the wild side right out of the gate. So that threw my predictions off, and I changed my predictions a little bit after I saw that, got smartened up a little bit. But you could just look in Damian Priest's eyes, and you just knew that the run was going to be over with. He put a lot of effort into the match. I'm not going to say he didn't, but you could just see it in his eyes. I felt bad for that guy because he put his life's blood into carrying that dumbass angle with the briefcase for nearly a year when he could have cashed it in 35 times. He stayed with the angle. He stayed very loyal to what the company wanted to do creatively. And they gave him, 2 months of a run? Really? Seriously? Are you bullshitting me? I mean, seriously. That's the only thing I can think of. You're bullshitting me. It just doesn't work out that way. But, Gunther did look like a gladiator with his chest scarred up, and he berated Priest and continued to pummel on him. Priest eventually found his next gear, rallying to hit Gunther. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Rallying to hit Gunther with a razor's edge and South of Heaven, and I really thought that was going to change it up. Priest had Gunther pinned, and then here we go with the main roster fuckery of Finn Balor. Throwing Gunther's leg on the rope, and I said to myself, the fix was in. This match is basically over. I just don't know when it's going to end. But they need to go ahead and wrap it up because this is getting sad. How they ended the Judgment Day was nowhere near how they built the Judgment Day. And quite frankly, I take exception with that. I didn't like the Judgment Day at all times. I didn't like them opening up every single Raw. I didn't like them having 4 or 5 vignettes during Raw because I felt like they were putting too much weight on them. If they were going to go ahead and write them out of the story, now what? You're going to find yourself saying now what an awful lot Monday. Because now there's going to be no more Judgment Day segments. So there goes 4 segments out of your show. So yeah, I felt kind of bad for him because I was actually enjoying that part of it. Priest had Gunther pinned, Balor shockingly put Gunther's foot on the ring rope to break up the pin. As Priest locked eyes with Balor, Gunther sinked in the sleeper hold while Priest begins to fade with Balor watching. Priest escaped the first time, then gets powerbombed back to a sleeper. I will give them credit. I will give WWE credit for this one. Because whether you know it or not, they kind of gave Priest an Austin finish, a Steve Austin finish, to make up for the fact that they were stripping him of the title 2 months in, because they didn't realize they booked Bash at Berlin too close, because their booking is all tight, because their booking is janky, because they still got 6 guys at the top. Now they're all just going to be chasing Gunther and not Priest, okay? Because of a dumb little thing they do, they're off to see the blizzard, the stupid Blizzard of Oz, it's just that's pretty much how it's going to go. Um, yeah, yeah, but Priest had a look at Balor this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the third, and while I can appreciate that they gave him the Austin finish, I would have liked to have seen the title on him for at least one more pay-per-view. I figured he couldn't hold it past Bash at Berlin, and they'd have to put it on Gunther, but I wanted them to wait at least one more month. I think it would have meant a whole lot more to the crowd in Berlin than it meant to the SummerSlam crowd, because I heard a lot of this during the entire match. Because they all knew what was going to happen and they refused to give you a minute of energy. It just happened like that. But anyway, Gunther is now the World Heavyweight Champion, and that means we get at least 6 months of dumbass Gunther promos. Because Gunther cannot cut a promo. Somebody needs to teach him English. That is, and I was very positive, Gunther is a great wrestler, not good on the mic, and because he has the title, that means we have to hear him every week. I am not looking forward to this, and in fact, I may just mute that when it comes on the screen. Gunther is now the king of the ring and the World Heavyweight Champion. That's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah. And that's going to bring us into our main event tonight with Cody Rhodes. This match was a great big, for me, all day long. It was a great big before I even got to it. It was a great big after it was over with. Okay? That's just the way I was going to say it. The match itself was good. It was too reckless, too much stuff going on. We'll get into the match anyway. Solo Sikoa comes out by himself, strangely enough, and it's a Bloodline Rules match. And, of course, Chody comes out on his own as well. I pick on them. I make fun of their names. I like the wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. This is my sort of little slapstick stupid stuff to throw in there with you. But, yeah, Solo Sikoa comes down by himself, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wait a minute, this is a Bloodline Rules match. Won't you just go ahead and bring the whole gang down here so we know what we're dealing with? And Michael Cole, if you don't stop, Tonga Loa is not the powerhouse of the Temu bloodline, okay? And I can say that because I even saw a sign in the crowd, the Temu bloodline, and I marked out for that like crazy too. Because that's what they are, the Temu bloodline and Jacob Fatu. I refuse to include Jacob Fatu in that because Jacob Fatu is a better wrestler by accident than all three of those guys are put together. And that's a fact. I refuse to put Jacob Fatu in that match. I refuse to put him in the same sentence as the Bloodline because he's up here, they're down here. And I'm concerned about that when Roman gets here too because Roman came back, but I'm concerned that Jacob Fatu is going to have to slow it down or he's going to make Roman look bad. And that's a fact, guys. That's a fact. So anyway, they come in. Solo Sikoa dominated Rhodes in the early going with a spinning solo and 2 running headbutts. The American Nightmare also landed the crossroads. Then Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa arrived to try to help Sikoa with the title, and this is where all the main roster fuckery starts here. And they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out, and all of a sudden here comes Kevin Owens, and now we've got Kevin Owens, and then we've got Randy Orton, and we've got Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes against, oh God, Solo Sikoa, Cornholio, and I can't get any of my sets right, Tonga Loa. Tonga Loa comes in, screws the entire match up. You're supposed to be taking him to the corner, misses the corner by like 3 feet, picks him up, shoves him back in the corner. This match was trash. I mean, in all seriousness, this match was it was a wet fart all the way through. I'm not even going to lie. It was horrible. Then, Cody's still coming back. He's still hulking up. He's still being super Cody. And I like Cody Rhodes too. Don't get me wrong. I like him. I like him as a person. Sometimes his in-ring character bothers me a little bit, but that's okay. It's what he does. It's his move. It's his shtick. And they're paying him the millions to do it. They're not paying me the millions to talk about it. That's how I look at it. So with that said, you know, Cody's holding his own, and here comes the man, Jacob Fatu. And Jacob Fatu goes in there and in 6 seconds absolutely eviscerates everything that walks, talks, and crawls. Not only did he beat them up, man, he nerfed everybody in the ring. That includes Cody Rhodes. He nerfed every fucking one of you. In 5 moves. He nerfed every single one of you. Jacob Fatu, he's up there. 2 steps, he's on the top ring. Boom, done. Gets Cody out the ring. On the table, this time they got the right gimmick table because it actually worked. Gets up there on the top, does that Fatu splash. Now, Jacob, brother, when I heard you were coming to WWE, I'm just going to say this is one of my sides here. We're getting close to 2 hours, so I'm about to wrap this up. Jacob, brother, when I heard you were coming to WWE, I started watching your matches. I started watching you cutting promos, and the first thing I said is, damn, you signed on the dotted line, which is what you wanted to do. I have no problem with that. It's your life. You got to live it. But I would protect your value way more than what you're doing right now. I know you get paid the big bucks to do this stuff, and I don't. But I'm just telling you right now, if you keep giving it all of what you've got right now, 2 things are going to happen. Number one, you're not going to get a run because you already look better than Roman Reigns. And that takes some doing. Number 2, you're going to be hitting them high spots. And given the climate of today, given the fact that apparently Logan Paul is injured, which, speedy recovery, Logan Paul. And the fact that you got injured in this thing right here tells me everything in the world. They sent you out there to do the big spots because you could do them. Now you're hurt. So take care of your body and get well soon. And if anybody comes under this stream and tells me that I need to stay on my side of the fence because I'm a traitor, you can go fuck yourself, respectfully. Anyway, Rhodes used the ring steps on Sikoa, but Sikoa caught him with a huge spear for a long 2 count. As Rhodes fought back, he was ready for the 3rd crossroads until Jacob Fatu assaulted him. Jacob Fatu got him up on the table, got up on the top rope, dropped that big Fatu drop on him on the table. Everything just collapsed. And Jacob Fatu came up limping bad, which means, and I thought he might have hurt himself. The fact of the matter is he did hurt himself. Hey, we're at 39 viewers. That's what I'm talking about right there. Anyway, so Jacob Fatu comes up limping, and then, of course, up in the ring. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Cody makes his way back in. And he blasts Solo Sikoa with two crossroads. I think he went for a 3rd one to retain his undisputed WWE Championship. The big piece here is Roman Reigns came down in the middle of all this. I'm getting ahead of myself. In the middle of all this, Roman Reigns makes his triumphant return. So y'all fans can shut up about, we want Roman. Yeah, we can drop that. You got Roman now, so we can drop that chant. But Roman Reigns makes his way down there, and you're wondering who he's going to hit. I know who he's going to hit. He's going to hit Solo Sikoa because Solo Sikoa has been running around telling everybody that he is the new tribal chief, and I'm sure Roman wasn't having any of that. So, yeah, he clocked Solo Sikoa. He's out like a light. Cody pops back up, hits, they say 2 crossroads. I had 2 down. I wasn't sure if it was 3. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, hits the crossroads and blah, blah, blah. And Cody Rhodes retains as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. I want to go ahead and give my ratings for Collision. I'm pretty strong on. I'm strong on a 5, and I'm torn between whether or not the moment of the night for me I'm torn between whether the moment of the night for me was Mariah May and Toni Storm, or whether it was anything Hologram did. Hologram's phenomenal in the ring. He is one of the main reasons I'm giving it a 5, in all seriousness. He deserves that all day, every day. SummerSlam, if I'm going on presentation alone, it's a 3. If I'm going on performance, I'm at a 5. But if I'm going on WWE booking for this match, and I tell y'all this all the time, I have positive reviews of the show. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of guts to get in that ring in front of 18,000 or even 400 people. So I personally refuse to shit on wrestlers who get in there, put the work in. Even if it's shitty work, it's still work. It's still work in front of 18,000 or even 800 people. So I'm not going to shit on the actual work they put in. The work rate was around a 5.5 to a 6. I think they could have done just a little bit more to it. I could tell some of the matches, they had known about the results for at least weeks. Normally you get your results like before match time, so it helps you stay in character, stay in the promos, stay in everything else. Damian Priest clearly got the memo a while ago that this was going to be a very short title reign, and you could tell. While his work rate was fantastic, the matches, the booking, -10, no moment. You guys don't, I mean, that's just the booking side now. Don't run out of here screaming I'm shitting on streams, because I'm not. That I'm shitting on WWE, because I'm not. I'm not shitting on WWE. I'm not shitting on the performers. I'm shitting on the organization itself. Because they can take some of the best performers, throw them in a bag, shake the bag up, and what comes out's absolute shit. Okay? That's a fact. And it doesn't matter how hard you work on the match is, it's shit. It's not that the workers are putting in bad work, it's the way the match is choreographed, the way the match is booked. It was, the best way I could say it was the way that Mr. Stark said it last night. Every single match at SummerSlam was overproduced. Overproduced. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. We are pushing about 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've stuck with me this long, it's pushing about 11 o'clock Eastern. I'm not going to keep you much longer. I want to say one thing. I'm sitting here at 40 viewers. Graps TV is quite possibly the best move I made for branding. I had to brand it properly because just walking out here saying the Sicko Show, that didn't mean anything. But the way we're doing the branding and everything else, it's only going to get better, guys. And like I said, we are going to be live at WrestleCade at the end of November, first day of December. We're going to be live at tables at WrestleCade. We're going to be doing live interviews. This thing is building up. And I want you guys to stick with me. If you stick with me, the shows are going to get better. Everything's going to get better. But I need you to stick with me. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's in the stream tonight. You have my undying thanks from the absolute bottom of my heart. I didn't think I was going to do those kind of numbers tonight. I appreciate it. You guys have made me feel real good. Made me feel real special. And just so you know, I see everybody. I go back. I watch the streams. I see who showed up. I look back in everything, and I try to see so I can remember your names. So when you get bold enough to start, chatting with me, I can call you by your name, and I'll understand it properly. But, yeah, this is probably one of the most successful streams I've had so far, and it's only getting better. We're up to 40 viewers. Probably more than that. It's just 40 is what I can see at the moment. So, as we're getting ready to head out here, I just want you to know that's my clear the air. That's my sincere gratitude, thanks, and everything else. And we're going to be live again at least next Saturday. I'm going to be doing some updates during the week on when I'm going live again. Probably going to be Tuesday. Probably Tuesday with NXT. If NXT is a halfway decent show, because we're doing the Great American Bash week 2, so I will definitely see you Tuesday. See how I remember things? But for now, I want to thank you all for your participation in the stream. I want to thank you for everything you've done. I want to thank you for making me feel like I'm part of your family. Thank you very much. And good night, America, wherever you are.